Listen to Joe Rogan talk on Trump podcast.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
When I first got to Spotify, I was willing to do it for two reasons. One, because it was a ton of money, and two, because I wanted to be like 10% less famous.
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't that be nice? Because people are like, oh, you're going to go into obscurity. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be like Howard Stern. No one's going to... I was like, perfect.
Yeah, how is he going to get less famous? I don't understand.
Like, give me the money. I got other interests, man.
Yeah,
give me the loot.
Were you at all nervous for Trump?
I was definitely hyped up. I was excited. Because I wanted to, there's a lot of questions I need to answer.
Did you feel pressure?
Recently he got Trump to come on, I guess.
No, not pressure.
Pressure mean like make sure you covered everything you want to cover.
No. Just like I knew what was important.
Did you
not
prepare for
necessarily. Yeah.
Did you ask him why he was so pro-vaccine?
No, I didn't. But I also wanted to be rigid because there was a moment when he brought up the polio vaccine. I was like, oh, I don't want to correct him. I don't want to show like when. Have you ever seen the chart of when polio actually dropped off when the vaccine was introduced?
I referenced it at the very end.
That's a rough one. When you look at the actual like, there's a bunch of them. Measles is another one. And you look at what actually happened. Exactly. And I don't want to get involved in a podcast with this kid I want to get to.
And what actually happened?
I want to know what goes in the JFK files.
Did you?
That's what we talked about.
I didn't see that part. Because I
he said there's a lot of people that are still alive, and I said, okay, so that's why you wouldn't release it because some of the people that are going to be implicated are still alive. So what that's saying to me is that the government was involved.
Everybody knows.
But I said that, and he kind of like he danced a little. He's real good at you ask him a question, and he starts to answer it, but then he takes you on a totally different route. You got to bring him back in, but you got to be respectful.
He's doing very good and guess galloping, I guess.
So it's like I knew that's the way he does it, but I'm like I understand what you're doing, sir. But let's get it back to what I was asking you.
You did that a couple times.
I was like, I want to know what that first day is like, and I don't think I really got that answer out of him.
I don't think he remembers.
I think he does. What I'm talking about is like this feeling of now you have to appoint 10,000 people, and now you have to figure out how this machine works when you've never governed at all, and they don't show you any of that when you're running for president. It's not like a training program. Details. Like, hey, Brendan, you might be president, so we're going to show.
I thought he said he doesn't like politicians bringing in his podcast.
This is how deals get.
I guess he did yesterday or something.
I like what he said about John Bolton. He said, "Yeah, he's a whack job, but you know what was cool about him? When I went to Iran and I had John Bolton, they all knew he was ready to drop bombs." He's called him a whack job, but he had his purpose.
That kind of mindset. You know, the problem with the Trump stuff is just that the people look at the inflammatory things he says, the crazy, and they define him by that. But you also have to remember this is a very bizarre combination of an entertainer and a businessman. So it's an entertainer that like he's like
he's glazing Trump now.
A comedian, man. He says funny. He does it all the time. He's always when he makes fun of Biden.
Constantly roasting.
He's funny, man.
New York. He's very New York.
I miss the fact that the nicknames he gives to people that they have to be funny.
Tim.
Yeah, if it wasn't funny, he wouldn't use it. Like Tampon Tim.
But my point is, people don't know what to do with that, and they want to pretend that all these other people are somehow or another.
How about the other actions?
Like morally better because you don't get to see the real them. Like, I don't buy that. I don't think you should either. I don't think that's how people really are. I think, and when you see over and over and over and over again the media manipulating things and lying about things to make him seem way worse than he is,
Hitler?
You should be suspicious.
Yes.
You should be real suspicious. Why they're doing that. Exactly. Joe, they don't want to lose that job. They're in desperado mode now.
Did you have a different perspective after? Like you don't know him well, right?
I don't know him at all.
But
I literally never had a conversation with him other than "Nice to meet you, sir." And he complimented me. I said, "Thank you. You're really good at this UFC stuff."
Yeah, no shit. But after 3 hours, did you have a different impression of him or no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a businessman. Bottom line, he likes making deals. That's what it is. Like that's his whole thing. And he's got this ability to just keep going. This is what's crazy. Like the podcast is 3 hours long. The guy didn't pee before the podcast. He didn't pee after the podcast.
Maybe he had a little
catheter. Maybe
he drank more Diet Cokes than me.
But
he's actually dedicated, huh?
He didn't during the podcast. Gangster. He just sat here and we talked, and they were freaking out there because he was 2 hours late for something he was doing in Michigan. He didn't give a. He's like, I know this is gonna be bigger than that. Let's just keep going. We did 3 hours. But at the end of it, I don't know him other than the 3 hours that I talked to him when he was trying to be.
He knows it will be a great propaganda for him.
Best.
And Kamala Harris has not said yes yet.
She's not said no either. People keep saying she said no. I said I would have a conversation with her like a human being. That's all I want to do. That's literally all I want to do. I want to know what is it like to be. I don't even get all the stuff she's talked about policies and all these different things. We know her positions. Like, who are you?
Just be real.
Who are you?
The crazy thing with Kamala is
she would be well served to step into the lion's den.
No, she's not. Though. She can't do it.
I would be willing to talk about anything other than politics. I don't give a.
She is.
Like if there were some certain things they didn't want to talk about, like fine, I don't care. Let's talk. I want to know who you are.
Yes.
I can find out who you are. So we can talk about.
So is he coming on or not?
It's crazy how she does interview after interview and they're just like disasters. And you would think that because she would study
interviews.
And
this is like they're interviews. What I mean? It's a fucked up way to talk that no one's used to doing. Yeah. Here's the way it is. Here's a question. Give me an answer. And you're like, well, I think that it's not a conversation. It's not a conversation. So it's a weird. So you're uncomfortable with your words and you're trying to get it out right, and you realize millions of people hate you and don't think you should be in that position in the first place.
When she begins to answer a question with, "I'm glad you asked that. Thank you for that." I'm like, "Oh my god,
you know it's good.
She thanks you for asking a question about the 20 million illegals coming through the border unvetted.
I don't think she's in a podcast.
I'm glad you asked that.
No. She steers it back to the same talking points. She steers it back to I'm a middle class. I come from a middle class family. I like small businesses. It's always back to the same
And groceries?
things.
They go, what about inflation? And then she goes, it's everything. You're right. I'm glad you asked that question. Groceries?
I know.
Gas?
But
everything. Families are struggling.
Yeah.
Families, and then
but no plan. There's no. I need to hear what you want to do
policy.
about it.
you would think her handlers would go, this is the plan. When they ask you about inflation, say we're going to do this.
I'm
and we're gonna
telling
do
you,
that.
the way they're doing it is very unnatural. And if you take a person that clams up when they have to talk publicly and you put them in
Manager says Trump, by the
unnatural
way.
environments, you incite all kinds of anxiety inside of them. It's a terrible way to communicate.
I don't think this would go better for her. I just don't think it's her thing.
3 hours. If she gave
Brendan,
you
I'm
3
trying
hours.
to sell it, and you're performing.
Maybe Kamala could sing or something.
No, I think if Kamala.
You know what I mean? If she could sing, sign her to a bad boy record contract. You know what I mean?
I think that company is going out of business. You might want to do some research.
Can you imagine the stock of bad boy right now? Whoa,
Bro, dudes are doing Kamala ads and moving to Europe.
Yeah, people always are tripping on the baby oil, right? With the Diddy thing, they're tripping on the baby, like 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I'm like, yeah, there's probably about 1,000 people at his parties, right? And
768.
That's Wild Boy.
Bro.
Imagine a Diddy party with no lube. Come on, man. Come on,
Painful,
man.
dog.
You gotta.
I bet he doesn't even. I bet Diddy's not even gay. I bet it's just he really enjoys guys. Just so he said he's
Yeah, it's a power move.
I bet it's a
Yeah.
crazy,
Does that mean gay, though?
crazy. Yes, it does.
That's
Crazy,
crazy.
drugged up power move.
Good one. So
You know.
It's not food.
It's just in a headlock.
Also,
fucking him. That's a
filming everybody and having dirt on everybody, like it's a crazy
style.
organized crime. It makes you think, like, is this guy doing it on his own?
No.
Like, who's above this mother?
Is that? But
on,
is
Eddie.
that the
We both know.
case? Is he doing it on his own? Of course.
there's another guy who's exactly like him, huh?
But maybe he is.
He's not. And also, it's funny the celebrities coming out to support Kamala. You're like, what the fuck are
All
you
of them
doing?
moving to
and they're
Europe.
like dancing.
Yeah.
We love Kamala. Usher.
Beyonce came out last night. She was
but
all
that
like,
actually
yo.
works for- When Americans see like
Texas.
somebody who's a billionaire support, it's like Beyonce. Most people don't have anything in common with her. So when that happens, it doesn't usually go well.
Anybody,
for
any celebrity that comes out and
They did
supports
for Hillary
Kamala,
Clinton. Didn't
they
work for her.
probably went to parties. You know what I mean?
100%.
They probably
Or they
did.
just
And
want
they're
to be
worried.
cool.
No,
I
it's
just
not cool.
think it's really weird to ask someone who lies for a living what they think the president should be. That's a lot of actors. They're just professional liars. The whole thing they're doing is they're pretending they're someone else.
have to be if you
And
wanna
you
work.
want them to be super sincere when they tell you who to vote for.
Oh,
I believe it's
but who's
time
that
that a woman
influencer?
becomes
The
president.
fact that they keep pushing that Trump is, and he promised to be a
Hey, yo,
dictator.
we're
It's a
missing
great
a
fight.
banger
Danny Gay
here.
and Murphy. Murphy's a mother.
I hope Kamala says yes. 3 hours.
I hope she says yes
We
too.
really are in 3 hours.
I don't know if
You
she'll
can't
do
hide for
3 hours. They probably want to do like an hour.
You're going to get 22 minutes.
I'll get an hour.
I don't know, man. 22 minutes.
22 minutes with bullet points.
You know, it's like no one knows who these are.
Right.
Get into his favorite sexual
We do know
position.
Trump is. We do know.
I think someone didn't that call her daddy girl? Didn't they start talking about bedroom stuff?
Yeah. I like cowgirl.
It's a very
Oh
good
my
comment.
goodness! Oh my goodness! You son of a bitch!
But really, reverse cowgirl on New Year's Eve and 4th of July, that's my favorite.
Well, she does. She gives good cooking tips. You ever see her good cooking tips?
Does she? What does she say?
Tells people
Use
to
beef
cook
tallow?
stuff.
Beef tallow.
She'll probably be like, no seed oils are the best. They're getting a bad rap.
No,
You
beef
gotta
tallow-
I have no idea what they're talking
Right
about.
wing.
Seed oil.
Beef talow's too right wing.
Exactly.
I like sunflower oil.
Joe, did you ask Trump about the assassination? Like, there's nothing on it?
Yeah, I
There's
didn't
no one
ask him
asking
about that.
questions?
It's hard to corral him. Like I said, he's like very slippery. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that he just like he talks.
Yeah,
the guy's a
he goes.
gifted talker. He can just talk. You never have to worry about him running out of things to say. Sometimes he talks himself to corners, but he gets out of it, you know. But it's just like he free balls. That's what he does. And so when I was talking to him about this, he was just joking around. We started talking about the UFC because I wanted to see the scar on his ear. He does have a little mark on his ear.
Yeah.
He did have a mark?
Yeah, he does have
got
a
shot.
It's a small mark on his, but your ear is filled with blood vessels. That's why it bleeds so much and heals
Heals
quick.
quickly, yeah.
So he's just talking about Bo Nickel and cauliflower ear. And next thing he wanted to talk about who's the best ever. Like,
He
he's a
wanted to
real.
talk about it.
He's a real. Well, he did a little bit, but he said it was surreal when he won the presidency. It wasn't surreal when he got shot. I thought that was fascinating.
Wow.
He said being in the White House was surreal. He goes walking into Lincoln's bedroom. He goes, it was very surreal. Like but when he actually got into the White House, he said it just didn't make any sense. It was very, very surreal. He said getting shot did not seem surreal. He goes, he was on the ground. He knew he was. They thought he was shot all over the place because of the blood, because it was the fog of confusion and there's blood on his face, and nobody knew where he had been hit. So they were all, and they got him out of there. But when he stands up and says "fight, fight, fight," that is
But they've
one of
erased
the most
American
things
things
of all time.
ever.
Of all time.
Ever.
Of all time. You can't fake that. That guy got shot. He didn't know if people were still out there shooting. Nobody knew what was going on. And that guy stood up and said "fight, fight, fight," and he got out of there.
What do you want to ask Kamala?
I
I
want to
think that's just a headline.
talk to her like a
He
human
was
being.
thinking about a headline.
I would say, what is the experience like of being the vice president? You never had any kind of national exposure at this level. Like, what is that? What is the pressure of that like? Like, what's it like when you get in there, when you want to do things and you can't make them happen? Like, what do you think you can do differently as a president versus what you've been doing as a vice president? Is it frustrating to not be able to do the things you want to do? What do you think that you could do to fix certain things that the world thinks are a real problem in this country? Just give people.
Give her some time.
I might not agree with her. I don't know. But let her talk.
Well, she was a DA. She had a big girl job. It's not like she had a real job.
I like how you say big girl job.
You know what I mean?
Sexist piece
Yeah,
of
it's
shit.
a big job.
It's a good job.
It's a big boy, big girl job. It's a real job. But you know what I'm saying? Like being a DA is a real
It's a
job.
good job.
That's why I'm so surprised that she doesn't have more
Dude,
confidence.
it's a different skill talking in front of an audience when people hate you.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a whole thing going on
gotta
where
sit
the
with that
amount of
press.
no, it doesn't matter. The amount of people that don't think she should be there. She never won the primary. That's got to be in your head.
1% of the
you got,
primary
you
she
got
got.
put in there. It was kind of a coup.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Gaffigan even made that joke at the Al Smith there.
Yeah.
That's kind of a coup.
And they're constantly telling her not to cackle, right? And then when she does, in her head, she's
นี่
thinking,
จอที่จะจริงเข้ามา
I'm like, and
So she's
everyone's
in
on
her
the
head.
side
So
going,
she's-
fuck
yeah.
you. Everybody on the side goes, shut up.
Terrible way to find out who a person is. It's a
ที่ผ่านในพอดคาสต์สารดี
terrible way. Debates are a terrible way.
Must be tough.
Talking publicly when you're reading off a teleprompter is a terrible way. The pressure, the amount of people. Look, I've been a host on a show before, and one of the things that happens is you get all these executives in your ear, and they're all telling you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, and it starts to your head.
Yes.
Your head.
So you just talk to her. You just want to have a conversation.
A conversation.
Do not cackle. Listen, like, they're probably telling her,
all kinds.
you better keep your mouth shut.
Also, she's going. Here's the deal, right? She's going from campaign stop to campaign stop to campaign stop. How much room is in there for reading? How much room is in there for
No room.
learning about these
No room.
policies?
You're
How
not
much
sleeping.